Hello again, YouTube! I am back! My name is Dr. Kendo, and this is the Scribblenauts Unlimited Object Editor Creation Series. So basically, of course, the game is called Scribblenauts Unlimited. I'm using one feature of it, which is the Object Editor, where you can basically create various objects or characters, almost like a puzzle, you know, taking different parts and putting them together and mixing them all up. You do have a limited amount of stamp space, and basically every single component that you put on your creation can be considered a stamp. So we'll do the best for our object creation today. Of course, I usually pick the creations based off of my subscribers' requests. So, you know, you guys put things down in the comments, and I pick whatever is the most popular or most requested by the most amount of different people. And so today's creation is a very clear landslide winner. We're starting off with a mecha as the source object, and we've added the thigh pieces from a golem that are in the back on the golem's left leg, B to R right, because we're starting off creating Toy Bonnie, but the adventure version, because we're going to be creating all of the adventure animatronics from FNaF World. No, not in this particular episode, all of them won't appear, but by the time that I'm done with this kind of whole series, I will create all of the playables at least. Who knows, there may be enemy models released later on in the world, and maybe I'll be creating those or something too, but for now, I'm focusing on trying to group up and create all of the adventure animatronics that are playable in FNaF World. So the middle little thing that's there down at the bottom of the torso, that is a diaper, and then we've used a ostrich egg. One is kind of vertically right side up, and then one of them is upside down. The one that's right side up and smaller is the light blue kind of belly shade for Toy Bonnie. I should say Adventure Toy Bonnie. And then the other ostrich egg is basically flipped upside down, and that's going to be the bulk of his body right there, or at least his upper body. That is also an ostrich egg, as I said. So then we took that golem thigh piece once again, and then a golem's shoulder piece. The back shoulder piece is going to be for the other part of the arm, as well as the thigh piece is going to be for like the bicep, and then I guess you could say that the forearm is the golem shoulder piece, and a sticky hand for the hands on either side, and of course a bow tie, you guys noticed that. But right now we are in the properties editor, so whenever you're creating characters in this game, you can of course edit the properties so that, you know, other characters will react to them a certain way. This is where you edit the health, the weight, all that type of stuff, and so this is where I like to read background information or fun facts, and so for this it'll be slightly different because probably most everybody knows what FNaF World is or the adventure animatronics, but I'll kind of give a brief overview. So as developer Scott Cawthon had put it in a recent announcement, there will be no Five Nights at Freddy's 5, and the story is over. But there will now be a non-horror FNaF themed game called FNaF World. As of the time of this commentary and recording, every playable, keyword playable, character is up on the Scott Games website, and Scott himself confirms, and I quote, "I hope you enjoy the new designs of the adventure characters, as I call them," unquote. So the general consensus on most internet forums I've seen is that we should name them things like Adventure Freddy and Adventure Toy Bonnie and Adventure whoever. So for this particular episode, we're going to be doing the first of a two-part episode where I'm creating the toy animatronics in their adventure forms, of course. So we'll be creating Toy Bonnie, Toy Freddy, and Toy Chica all in their adventure appearances from the Scott Games site. And why not also create one more adventure character in this episode? Well, two more if you're counting Chica's cupcake, whom you'll see a little bit later on, soon enough. Anyway, for part two, we'll go ahead and create, of course, Balloon Boy, the Puppet, Balloon Girl, or JJ. And we might also go ahead and either create Mangle in that second part or have Mangle be with the Wizards. Haven't fully decided on that one yet. Of course, by that I mean the broken Mangle. But starting off with the head as the source object and then using dough, or you could use the almighty Utaban. Then, in essence, after that, just take the middle, I guess, tail part of a scorpion and paint that black. So basically the dough is flipped on either side. It's copied and then flipped on either side so that they're both pointing different directions. That's going to be like for his snout and the upper part of his snout, I guess. And then, of course, the scorpion tail, as I said, is we painted all black, and that's going to be his little nose, his bunny nose. And then we've taken a thigh piece from the mammoth. You know, you just type in mammoth and grab kind of one of the back thigh pieces on its left front leg. And then glue is going to be for the white. By the way, the mammoth thigh thing, I guess I should mention, is kind of like the outer outline around his eyes. You know, he's got like a light bluish kind of color that goes around the eyes and even around the whites of the eyes. And so then pearl is going to be for his green colored, the iris, and a dot painted all black is going to be for his pupils. You could also go with a pimple if you want to. But then on the 29th 29-page library. We've used one of the arm shapes that's in the bottom middle on that 22nd page, and that's going to be for not only the little purple eyelid that's above his colored part of his eyes, but also going to be for his eyebrows. And so then freckles, those are going to be for what you could call the freckles on him, but basically where his whiskers and stuff would be, you know, that's basically just freckles copied. You know, you can copy it once and then put it on either side so that it's on both parts of the snout. A dot for the little cheeks, the rosy cheek on our left side, his right, and then a hemisphere, the half sphere shape from the geometry library in this game. That goes on the other side, our right, his left. A jaw is actually going to be his jaw and the teeth and stuff down there. And then we put you can either do another jaw or you could do like an eyebrow. Either way, it'll probably work for the little piece of his mouth that's to our right. And of course, to his left, it kind of is just to round out the mouth and fully finish it off, I guess. And then I used tofu and a 29-page library arm shrunk down as small as I could get it and painted all black as a line to show that there are two front teeth right there. So of course, whenever you're creating a two-parter object, you want to go into the properties editor and under equipment, be sure to check off the little circle that says can be worn on the face like glasses. So be sure that that one is filled in. And we didn't have enough stamp space to create the ears on the head right there. So we're actually going to make the Adventure Toy Bonnie ears. I named it ADV, Toy Bonnie ears, just for short. You could probably fit it all in. It's just I didn't want to have to keep typing it over and over and over again. And it makes it easy for you if you're going to name it that way too. But we're going to make these basically worn on the head like a hat, so they go above the head. So anyway, we started off with a dot as the source object, and the only reason I did this is because it would be small enough that it would be behind the head and it would not be noticed. So, you know, you want it to be not noticed, the dot part. Now, this is interesting. When you type in dolphin, there is a fin back there that you can grab onto. You can see I have a little star cursor pointer thing where where I'm tapping on the gamepad to try to grab it from. If you just do it right underneath the fin that you can see, but a little bit under it and near the belly of the dolphin and everything, you can grab the dolphin's other fin. It won't have the little dot on it, so that's why I want the fin that is behind that we can't really see visibly. And so of course just copy that twice for the blue part and then copy it 2 more times for the little purple inside part of the top of his ears. And of course, if you didn't see before, the golem's thigh piece that we've used many times here was for the base of the ears, the bottom parts. So be sure that this one is set to can be worn on the head like a hat, because now you can see that when we put this 3-part object together, it creates the whole thing all together. So there was Adventure Toy Bonnie. But we're already like 6 minutes in, we're past 6 minutes into this episode, so I really need to chop and hurry up here. So we're starting off with the head as the source object for our next creation. This is going to be starting off at the head first, of course, for Adventure Toy Freddy. Then we took the golem shoulder piece, moved it either which direction for the top part of his snout. And then, of course, a puck is for the nose, just painted black. And then we've got this glue. That's going to be sort of for the light brownish, kind of almost peach tan color that goes around his eyes. Freckles, of course, just like the Toy Bonnie has. So freckles on either side of that. Mozzarella. Here, I got to make sure I'm spelling this right. Okay, so mozzarella is going to be for the whites of his eyes right there. So make sure to put 2 of them in. And then a pearl is once again going to be for the colored part of their eyes. The pearl, I like it because there's a little bit more detail and stuff in it and a little glimmer and shininess and whatever. And so we painted those blue, and you can once again use a dot or a pimple as the pupil or the black part of his eyes. Teeth is going to be for the jaw and teeth that are right there. That's just because you can use kind of like one stamp to cover that all. You could do that on your Toy Bonnie if you wanted to try to get the ears on it instead of like as a 3-parter object, but I ran out of stamp space pretty quickly on that Bonnie design. So anyway, more 29-page library arm shapes to be sort of the eyelids, I guess, over the white parts of his eyes just a little bit, and for the eyebrows, of course. Pimple, painted white, is going to be for the glimmer, glowy, white glisten spot in his eyes, right next to the black pupil. Top hat, of course, is his hat, and then we use the golem shoulder piece for his ears, and a sphere for kind of the tannish colored part within his ears. So the Adventure Toy Freddy right now, the body is going to be mostly the same as the Toy Bonnie, except for, of course, paint it brown, but then we also used a treant for the feet, so you know, you just take the feet of the treant and put them on the Adventure Toy Freddy's feet. So of course in the scripting we had our Toy Bonnie, adventure style, using stringed instruments so that he would use a guitar, so now we have Adventure Toy Freddy scripted to basically use microphones, which ended up being musical. You could also do audio, any of those general categories that you feel would fit best. So everything is mostly the same, of course, just make anything thicker that you want to make, you know, move it around as you need to fit to your Adventure Toy Freddy size. Now we'll go with a different source object for our Adventure Toy Chica. This is going to be starting off with a LIFEGUARD instead. Paint everything yellow. We took off off the legs and the head. Of course, we're going to make the head separately. A diaper, once again, is going to be for sort of that torso or bottom part of the torso where the hips are and things. That's going to be that. And then the golem's thigh piece, once again, for the thighs of our character. And then I'm going to take an iguanodon. Just above its feet, there's one stamp that looks like this. So really, it's like the shins of the iguanodon, you know. And then there's, this is also what we used for our toy Bonnie's feet. We're going to use it on our Toy Chica. Is ghoul. If you type in ghoul, that's Ghoul, and then select the fish, not the monster version. So that's for the feet, and that was also for toy Bonnie's feet, as we showed off earlier on. Sticky hand is, of course, going to be for her hands once again. Golem thigh piece, or you could use shoulder pieces for the connectors of the arms, while we also kept the LIFEGUARD's original arms on there as well to make them just longer. And a bib for her bib. And so you do have some extra stamp space to play around with if you would like to add more. You could also type in, you know, back when I did the original Five Nights at Freddy's objects in the object editor, I think I just put eat instead of let's eat because I had run out of stamp space on that one, but I also did not do them as two-parter objects at that time, so that's one major difference, of course, that saves us a lot of stamp space. But also, if you do want to see it, you know, I can show you another version, of course, after this, but there is enough stamp space, I believe, to type in let's party if you don't do the apostrophe and the exclamation point. So, you know, if you really want to include that, you could. This is what it would look like, though, because unless you make your object a lot bigger, these letters here won't shrink down of the let's party. So this other build, I guess, that I'm showing you right now is, it also has the LIFEGUARD's original legs on it. Now, that's going to be for the connector, basically where the knee is. We used a 29-page library arm on the 10th page instead of the LIFEGUARD feet on our previous build for Adventure Toy Chica. But this time, you might avoid some of the sinking into the ground. You know, if you take away the legs of any character in this game while you're editing, it will make your object sink into the ground, unfortunately. But now we've got our Adventure Toy Chica head. Of course, started off with the head as the source object, and then we took 29-page library arms, one from the 3rd page, one from the 4th page, and made those the little hairs that are up on the top, or feathers, whatever you would like to call those, up at the top. Of course, there's 3 of them, so I just did the 29-page libraries. I think page 3 is that middle one, and then page 4, it has the 2 that are going off to either side. A whisker is going to be for her eyelashes. Now, you could also do probably a number of things, you know, like you could have a sticky hand be the eyelashes as well, but it'd be a lot thicker. But I've also got this 29-page library arm shape that's on the 20th page, top right corner. That's also going to be for the 4th eyelash because there are 4 eyelashes in there, so that was a way to get 4 of them, because when you type in whisker in this game or eyelash, it'll have just 3 points on it rather than 4. So her beak, the bottom part, is just an eyebrow, and we do have little sugar cubes down in there for her teeth. If you see those, we can check it out in a second. But then let's see, we're doing a golem shoulder piece is actually to represent the whites of her eyes, and then of course a pearl and pimple or dot, of course, can be for the black part, but the pearl is for the colored part within the eyes. And we did eyebrows to be the eyelids, they're up above, and of course a pimple painted white is going to be for the glimmer and glisten in her eyes. Schnitzel, you just saw how it was spelled on screen. The schnitzel is going to be the top beak for Chica here, or I should say Adventure Toy Chica. And this is just what the sugar cube looks like, just so you can see what it looks like, since it's barely visible right now underneath there. There we go. Took away the schnitzel for a second and you could see. We just put 2 down there. You could put 3 if you want, you know, whatever you feel. This is, I always encourage people basically to make your own versions of these designs and just kind of use these videos that I make as help and of course entertainment, but help to just kind of inspire some ideas maybe. Dots are going to be for the cheeks, the pink colored cheeks. So I haven't even said what my opinion is, but I'm really excited about FNaF World. I think that it's a great idea. I have not yet played a Five Nights at Freddy's game, but I will definitely probably be playing FNaF World, even if I don't ever play FNaF the horror series. I do want to play the Five Nights at Freddy's games though, so don't get me wrong. Anyway, this is the quote-unquote secret character we were gonna do. I mean, it's not all that secret, but we're creating the pre-mangle version for here. I didn't know where else I would fit the fixed mangle in. I'm calling it pre-mangle. You could call it fixed mangle. It doesn't really matter. It's mangle. And so, of course, we've got kind of a lot of the design that our toy Bonnie had. Of course, though, I took away the ghoul feet down there, the ghoul fin from that fish, and we're using golem shoulder pieces to be the little toes, because we do have the mecha's feet showing, but I think that this is actually really good to have those be the toes. A golem shoulder piece is going to be for the hook hand part that's black, and then of course a hook is the actual hook. A pom-pom is the white part of the tail with a cone as the pink part, the pointy pink part. We took a headband twice, kind of diagonal in either direction, to be the bow tie, because her bow tie is a little more extravagant than Bonnie's bow tie and stuff. You know, it has some extra details to it that I've included. And so So a head as the source object is going to be for starting off Adventure Pre-Mangle's head. A tiger shark is, we took the dorsal fin, and that's going to be the top fin, of course. That's going to be for the, I guess, hairs or whatever, the tufts of hairs that are out to the side for the Mangle design. A T-Rex, just taking the bottom jaw piece, that's going to be the bottom jaw and the top teeth of our Mangle. Of course, I mean Adventure Mangle. Dots as the cheeks once again. 29-page library arm shapes, especially from the 20th page, are going to be not only the top snout piece, but also the lipstick parts. And seed 4 times for the ears and the pink part within the ears. Whiskers for the eyelashes, or you could use a sticky hand once again since her eyelashes are probably a little bit thicker. Let's see here. Golem shoulder pieces for the pink parts around the eyes. You can either use a kiwi or glue to be the white parts of the eyes. Pearl once again for the colored iris. And dots for the pupils. And look at this. I was going to point out that this is the other version of Mangle's head that you can do, the Pre-Mangle, Adventure Mangle. We did run out of stamp space, so I did want to include the little hairs on top of her head. You can do that like how I did the Toy Bonnie in a 3-part object, but I thought that would be a little bit excessive just to have kind of 3 little hairs, just to kind of have little hairs poking out at the top of her head. So, you know, feel free to do that in 3 parts if you would like to in your design. That's the reason that I left it off here. So no, I didn't forget it. No, I didn't forget anyone. FNaF fans would do very good to learn that. If I don't include something in an episode, it doesn't mean that I forgot it. So as I mentioned before, this episode was specifically to create Adventure Toy Bonnie, Adventure Toy Freddy, Adventure Toy Chica, Adventure Pre-Mangle, and look at that, we even have the cupcake, the Toy Chica cupcake. This would be the adventure version of that as well. Using a man-eating plant, glue as a source object, a wake skate, the letter I for the candle, as well as a tear for the flame, and pretty much the same eyes that we've used on all of our other characters and stuff. All of that goodness. But I hope you guys are excited for what's to come. I'm going to attempt to create, of course, every single FNaF world playable that is on the Scott Games website as of the time of this recording. I haven't even counted how many that's going to be in the end, but it's going to be like 20 or 30 something characters, I'm sure. So next episode, be looking out for part 2 of the toys, where we will be creating Adventure Balloon Boy, Adventure Balloon Girl or JJ, and the Adventure Puppet, and then of course more to come after that in the coming weeks. And lately, Dr. Kendo, myself, has been live streaming every single Monday, sometimes on YouTube, sometimes on Twitch. So this coming Monday, which is going to be September 28th, I will be on Twitch. So I'll see you over there. The link is in the description, but it's www.twitch.tv/DRKENDO. That's twitch.tv/Dr. Kendo. So I love and appreciate you all, and I will catch you on the next vid, and thanks for viewing. They're meant to bring justice to all wrongdoers. They're like a spectacle, so you can be the viewer. And
down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives, and the spectacle begins. Down the road